Sorry, this table's for family only, my sister said with a smirk, nodding toward a metal folding chair parked near a trash bin. That's when it hit me, I was done pretending. For years, I'd played the part of the reliable daughter, the one who remembered birthdays, stepped in financially, and never stirred the pot. I never asked for much, just a place at the table. So when my dad's 65th birthday rolled around and they asked me, once again, to help with the planning, I didn't hesitate. I showed up early, brought the wine, wore the uncomfortable heels, and yet still, I was sent to the outskirts by my own family. But this time, when the check came and the waiter turned to me, I didn't blink. I smiled. Not my table, I said. And just like that, everything shifted. Growing up, I learned how to take up less space. Not in dreams, I had plenty of those, but in presence. I was trained to avoid conflict, to be easy to ignore. My older sister, Vanessa, was the star. She won spelling bees, stole scenes in school plays, and made people love her effortlessly. My parents doted on her brilliance. She's just got that spark, my mother would say, almost like an apology, as if that somehow explained why I seemed invisible right next to her. I was the dependable one. The straight-A student who never bragged. The one who scrubbed dishes without being asked. Who fixed her own flat tire at 16 without telling anyone. I don't think my parents meant to overlook me, I just think they didn't realize how often they did. Like when they hung Vanessa's graduation photos but forgot mine. Or when they had her give the Thanksgiving toast and asked me to pass the gravy. I never pushed back, asking to be seen felt like begging. And I swore I'd never beg. As an adult, I built a life 3 states away. I launched a modest but successful marketing agency, made my own traditions, and kept my distance. Still, I sent holiday cards. I visited. I even paid for my dad's car repairs last year when his transmission died, not because they asked, but because they didn't think they needed to. And I said nothing. Because some part of me still hoped to be seen, not as the helpful one, not as the human ATM, but as someone they'd genuinely miss if I stopped showing up. So when my mom called about Dad's birthday, I said yes without thinking. Emily, sweetheart, she said in that sugary tone she uses when there's a favor attached. We'd love for you to come. It's going to be really special. I told her I was in. Then came the ask. We were hoping you could put down the deposit, just to hold the space. It's at Dad's favorite, Rose Ember. Of course. I wired over $1,000 that afternoon. When I asked who was coming, she just said, "It'll be family." Once, that word had meant something to me. I didn't know it yet, but that dinner would be the last time I ever asked to be included. The night of the party, I arrived early, as always. Rose Ember glowed in golden candlelight and low jazz, the kind of place with no prices on the menu and waiters in tailored vests. I wore a satin dress I hadn't touched in years and carried a small gift wrapped in navy paper. The hostess greeted me warmly and led me upstairs to the private room. As I entered, I froze. They were all there already, Vanessa in an ivory dress, my mother in her pearls, my father laughing with some cousin. No one turned when I walked in. I scanned the table, long, polished wood lit by hanging glass pendants. Place cards, napkins folded like origami, glasses already kissed with champagne. 15 seats, every one of them taken. Then, off to the right, a lone folding chair, placed beside a service station and a trash bin faintly reeking of shrimp shells and lemon. Vanessa spotted me. She raised her glass and grinned, loud enough for the room to hear, "Emily. So glad you made it." I paused, still holding the gift. Then she tilted her head and added, "Sorry, this table's for family only. But we got you a seat over there." Her eyes sparkled. Someone laughed. I think it was Uncle Ray. Someone else muttered, "Yikes." No one stepped in. My mother gave me a polite wave, then quickly turned away. My skin burned. My body moved before my mind could catch up. I walked to the corner, sat, left my coat on, and gently set the gift on the floor beside me. I kept telling myself not to cry. That I was being dramatic. That it didn't matter. The waiter came over. "Are you at this party?" he asked. I nodded. He said nothing more, just poured a glass of tap water and left. I sat there, silent, while they toasted, snapped pictures, and laughed. Vanessa gave a speech. My mom wiped tears. My dad lit up when she handed him a framed photo of a Cape Cod trip, one I hadn't been invited to. No one asked if I wanted food. No one asked me anything. So I sat there, feeling every thread of my expensive dress dig into my skin, wondering how many more nights like this I'd have to endure before I stopped hoping for a place. Mid-sentence, as Vanessa bragged about gifting Dad a new set of golf clubs, a waiter approached the main table, bill folder in hand. From across the room, I could see the total glinting under the soft light. He paused, scanned the group, then looked toward me. Recognition flickered across his face. He stepped cautiously in my direction. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said, voice low and professional. "The total for the evening is $4,912. Should I charge the same card used for the deposit?" The room fell silent. Forks stopped in midair. Laughter died. Every face turned toward me. Vanessa stopped mid-sip. My mother's lips tightened. I met the waiter's gaze and smiled, calm, steady. "Not my table," I said. The silence was sharp, surgical, cutting clean through the glamour, through the expensive wines and curated charcuterie, laying bare the truth carved into that pristine table. "Excuse me?" the waiter asked, uncertain. "I paid the deposit," I said clearly, "but I was told this table was for family only." A soft gasp rippled through the room. Maybe Aunt Julie. Maybe even my mother. Vanessa's face turned blotchy like a spilled wine stain. "Oh my God, Emily," she snapped. "Don't do this." "I'm not doing anything," I replied. "I'm just sticking to the seating chart." My father cleared his throat. "Emily, sweetheart, come on." And for the first time in a long time, I didn't move. "You already paid the deposit, might as well finish it out," my dad said. That stopped me. That might as well. That quiet expectation that I'd roll over again. That my quiet compliance was the same as agreement. I rose slowly. My chair scraped loudly against the floor. "You're right, Dad," I said, my voice low but steady. "I paid the deposit. I made the reservation. I gave up my weekend to make this happen." Then I turned to Vanessa. And in return, I got stuck next to the trash and ignored all night. I let my eyes sweep the entire table. "So now, the rest is on you." And I turned, my heels clicking like punctuation behind me as I walked out. The waiter still stood there holding the check. And for the first time all evening, nobody said a word. I didn't wait for the elevator. I needed to move. To breathe. To remind myself I was still in control of my body. My heels struck each marble stair as I descended, the cold February air outside smacking against my cheeks like clarity. By the time I hit the sidewalk, my coat was open and my earrings were in my pocket. My hands were trembling, not from nerves, but something sharper. Possibly liberation. I kept walking. By the time I got home, my phone was already buzzing. 9:23 p.m. Mom, Emily, please call. We need to talk. 9:27 p.m. Vanessa, wow. Had to make it about you again? 9:33 p.m. Dad, that was unnecessary. You embarrassed everyone. I let the screen go dark. I didn't respond. Then, at 10:01, a name popped up that surprised me, Madison. Vanessa's ex. I stared for a second before answering. Emily, she said softly. Yeah. Hi. I leaned against the kitchen counter. I hope it's okay, I called. I was there tonight. Came with Claire. Vanessa introduced me as her yoga friend. She let out a dry laugh. Seriously? She was trying to save face, I guess, Madison replied. What happened after I left? She panicked. Said it was a misunderstanding. Blamed the waiter. Blamed you for overreacting. But her face, she knew. You shut it all down without even raising your voice. I didn't reply. I'm not calling to cause drama, Madison continued. I just wanted you to know, I saw it. I've always seen it. Seen what? I asked quietly. The way they treat you like a walking wallet. Always smiling, always saying yes. And Vanessa? The way she talks about you, it's cruel, Emily. It's been cruel for a long time. A pause. Why now? I asked. Because you finally walked out. And they didn't expect that. I think you rattled something. After we hung up, I stood in my kitchen a long time, staring at the unopened bottle of wine I'd brought to dinner. The gift from my dad still tucked into my purse. But now I understood, it wouldn't have mattered if I'd shown up with gold. They still would have sent me to sit next to the trash. Only difference was this time, I didn't stay. And apparently, people noticed. The next morning, the family group chat, silent for months except for the occasional blurry photo or corny meme from Aunt Karen, lit up. Mom, Emily, please call. You hurt your father. Dad, let's not turn this into something bigger. Just apologize. Vanessa, you humiliated me in front of everyone. Was it worth it? I didn't respond. Not because I wanted to punish anyone. But because I was finally clear. But Vanessa wasn't finished. That afternoon, she sent a voice note. Bitterness baked into every word. I hope you're proud. You ruined Dad's birthday just to make a scene. You always play the victim. Maybe if you weren't so cold, people would actually want you around. And something in me clicked. Not with anger. With precision. I opened my laptop, pulled the email confirmation from the restaurant, the invoice from the florist, the receipt for the golf print I'd ordered for Dad, even the Uber Black service I'd arranged for Mom so she wouldn't have to deal with parking. Then I wrote an email. Subject, last night. To family, BCC'd, of course. Hi all. Since there's been some confusion about my role in last night's dinner, I thought I'd clarify. Attached are receipts for the dinner deposit, $1,000, flowers, $350, custom gift for Dad, $180, and car service for Mom, $120. I covered these expenses without being asked to. I was told it was a special night to honor Dad. But I was also told, very clearly, that I wasn't considered part of the family that night. I won't be paying the remaining $4,912. I wasn't fed. I wasn't included. I wasn't wanted. And I'm done funding seats I'm not allowed to sit in. Best. Emily. I hit send. Minutes later, my cousin Jenna replied, good for you. We saw what happened. It was cruel. Then Uncle Leo, wish I'd spoken up. I'm sorry. Even Aunt Karen chimed in, about time someone said it. But the messages that didn't come said more. No apology from my mom. Nothing from my dad. Silence from Vanessa. Until 2 hours later. A text popped up from an unknown number. Hi, this is Claire, Madison's friend. We met at a wedding once. Just wanted to say, that email? It's making the rounds. People are talking. And for once, they're not siding with Vanessa. I leaned back in my chair, a quiet realization washing over me. For so long, I'd poured my time, money, and energy into people who only looked for me when they needed help. But now, something had shifted, and I wasn't running after them anymore. That evening, I opened my banking app and scrolled to the shared, emergency, fund I'd been quietly maintaining for nearly 4 years. It wasn't much, just under $30,000, but it had been used often: Vanessa's car repairs, Dad's dental surgery, Mom's, just until my check clears, moments. No one ever asked kindly. It was always expected. Because I always said yes. I hovered over the transfer button. Then, in one motion, I moved the entire balance into my personal savings and closed the account. Done. Final. Free. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. Vanessa. I let it go to voicemail. Then she called again. And again. On the fourth ring, I picked up. What the hell, Emily, she snapped. No greeting. No apology. The joint fund is gone, I said calmly. I closed it. You what? You can't just. I can. And I did. Silence. I paid for everything: dinner, flowers, transportation. I sat alone, got ignored, then was expected to pick up the bill while being told I didn't belong. That account was the last string. It's cut now. You're being spiteful. No, I said, voice steady. I'm being done. She didn't speak right away. When she finally did, her voice cracked, not with regret, but disbelief. You've never spoken to me like this before. Because I used to think love had to be earned through silence. But love that only shows up when I'm convenient isn't love at all. I ended the call. Then I opened my notes app and started typing a list: things I'd stopped doing. Covering last-minute family expenses. Driving for hours just to be sidelined. Sending birthday gifts that went unacknowledged. Pretending silence didn't hurt. It was a long list. And for the first time, I felt no guilt. Just relief. Later that night, I got a message from Madison. You okay? Vanessa's spiraling. Says everyone's turned on her. I smiled and typed back, me? Let her spiral. I'm not her center anymore. The next morning, something unexpected landed in my inbox. Subject: Emily, I owe you an apology. From Dad. I stared at it, unsure whether to open it. When I finally did, the message was short. A little stiff. But honest. I didn't see it. That's on me. Your sister always took up all the oxygen in the room, and you made it easy to ignore that. I'm sorry. If you want to talk, I'll listen. No excuses. Dad. I didn't cry. I didn't reply immediately. But for the first time, he wasn't asking me to fix anything. He simply owned what he'd done. And maybe that was the start of something. Not reconciliation, but recognition. In the following weeks, I barely heard from my family. The group chat, once filled with chain texts and passive reminders to stay close, went completely silent. And honestly, it felt good. Peaceful. I started my mornings without scanning for another crisis. I cooked for one. Lit candles while I worked. Took long walks without telling anyone where I was going. I began seeing a therapist, not because I was broken, but because I was done pretending I wasn't hurt. We talked about boundaries, about how love shouldn't come with strings. About how silence, when taken for granted, becomes erasure. I wasn't just healing, I was rebuilding. I finally booked that trip to Santa Fe I'd postponed twice for family events. I wandered art markets in linen pants, drank coffee alone at sunrise, and wrote in my journal all the things I used to think I needed permission for. By the third day, my list included saying no without guilt, choosing solitude over obligation, releasing relationships that tighten when you try to breathe, and crafting a life that doesn't rely on keeping others comfortable. One morning, I was scrolling through my photos when I saw it, a picture from Dad's birthday dinner. I hadn't taken it, someone else must have. The table was polished, glittering, full of smiles. But in the distant corner, slightly out of focus, sat me. Alone. Still in my coat. Next to the trash can. I stared at it for a long time. But it didn't hurt. Not anymore. It confirmed what I'd known deep down. That version of me, the one who showed up even when she wasn't wanted, who still brought a gift and forced a smile, she was gone. In her place was someone new. Someone who no longer asked for a seat. She built her own. The following week, I hosted a dinner. Just 6 people. No aunts, no cousins, no guilt. Just my people. My chosen ones. No one sat near the trash. We ate lemon-roasted chicken, passed mismatched napkins, and laughed so hard we had to pause between bites. Midway through, my friend Talia raised a glass. To Emily 2.0, for reminding us that family isn't always blood. I smiled. Because I wasn't just at the table, I had said it. A few weeks later, a letter arrived in the mail. No return address, but the handwriting was unmistakable. My mother's. Inside was a note. No drawn-out excuses. No justifications. Emily, I've reread your email 5 times. I didn't realize how far we pushed you, or how quiet you became just to stay close. I was wrong. If you never want to come back, I'll understand. But if you do, I promise you'll never sit by the trash again. Love, Mom. I folded the letter slowly, not with sentimentality, but reverence. For the first time in 32 years, she'd said, I was wrong, without adding, but you. I didn't cry. I didn't frame it. I didn't rush to reply. I tucked it into the drawer next to my journal, shut it softly, and returned to my desk, where a warm mug of tea waited. That night, I opened a blank document and typed the heading. Rules for my table. Not a dinner table. The table inside me. The one where my self-worth sits at the head. Where I choose who's welcome, and who stays outside. Rule 1, no one who makes you feel invisible gets served first. Rule 2, love that demands performance is not love. Rule 3, silence isn't grace if it costs you your dignity. Rule 4, you don't need a seat at their table if you can build your own. I closed the laptop. Exhaled. Felt something loosen deep inside, a quiet, steady peace. Not loud. Not dramatic. Rooted. Because the real turning point wasn't that night at the restaurant. It was every no that followed. Every moment I stopped waiting to be included and decided to include myself, entirely, fiercely, unapologetically. So no, I didn't pay the remaining $4,912. But I finally paid the emotional debt I'd been carrying for years. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't sitting beside the trash can. I was home, at my own table.